Ergonomics means fitting the work to the individual worker. Poor performance and injury is often the result of a mismatch between the person and the equipment they're using, or their workplace layout and environment. By applying ergonomic principles, work is made to suit people, and as a result, the risks associated with the tasks can be reduced. This approach not only prevents injuries, but also reduces costs and increases efficiency and morale. In this video, we'll be looking at some of the hazards which exist for office workers, and in particular, the visual display user. We will show you how to reduce those risks by analyzing the ergonomics of your workstation and VDU in accordance with UK regulations and EC directives. Correct posture, workstation design, workplace layout, lighting and work routines are just some of the areas that we'll be covering in detail. Case studies and solutions will also be included. As a first step in an ergonomic safety program, it's important for you to consider the nature of your daily activities and the conditions under which they have to be performed. Do you know what percentage of your workday is spent sitting down? How many hours each day do you operate your VDU? What are the range of other tasks which you carry out each day? And how much exercise do they involve? Make an assessment of how frequently you carry out these other tasks and how much time you spend on them. Is there a high degree of repetitive movement in the tasks you perform? If, after carrying out this assessment, you find that you spend the majority of your day sitting down with little or no physical activity, or you are involved in an activity which requires a large amount of repetitive movement, then you fall into a high-risk category. You need to think carefully about your seated posture, the design of your workstation, and the need to break your day up with other tasks which involve a variety of physical activity. Let's spend a few minutes examining some common VDU and workstation hazards which you need to be on the lookout for. There are 4 major problem areas: back, neck and shoulder pain, eye strain, repetitive strains, fatigue and mental stress. What exactly causes these problems? Usually it's a combination of bad posture, poor job design and work organization, the working environment, and inappropriate work methods. It's very easy to adopt bad posture while seated. How often have you sat down without any regard for how your body should be positioned? Bad posture leads to wear and tear on your spine and muscles, whereas good posture helps you to work more efficiently and reduce fatigue. While you're seated, the discs in your back are subjected to nearly 50% more pressure than when you're standing. Studies have shown that a relaxed upright sitting posture or leaning slightly back results in lower disc pressure than when the body is curved forward. A bent position should only be adopted if the body is well supported by your arms and elbows. It's important to change your posture regularly so that a good blood supply is maintained to your muscles. If you don't vary your tasks and exercise your muscles, they'll contract and you'll begin to get back, neck and shoulder pains. Bad posture of the neck and head is also a common problem and leads to neck strain. Once again, an upright head position is beneficial. The more you incline your head forward, the greater the likelihood of suffering muscle fatigue and neck strain. Unnecessary twisting your head and upper body needs to be avoided, as this causes wear and tear on joints and muscles. Your eyes have 2 sets of muscles. The extraocular muscles rotate your eyeball from side to side. The ciliary muscles are inside the eyes. These 2 sets of muscles enable the eyes to focus. When you're not focusing on anything in particular, these muscles will normally be relaxed. However, When you focus on a nearby object, such as your computer screen, your eye muscles are in constant use. And like other body muscles, they will tire if held in the same position for lengthy periods. Blurred vision, pain, and headaches will often occur. Poor lighting, excessive contrast between light and dark areas, poor image quality on computer screens, and glare can all lead to eye strain and other vision problems. Hand and wrist injuries resulting from repetitive strain can also be a hazard. The natural position of your wrist is to keep it and your hand in a straight line with your forearm. This keeps pressure off muscles, tendons and nerves. Avoid working with the wrist extended back or flexed down. These positions can compress the median nerve as it passes through the carpal tunnel, causing carpal tunnel syndrome. Repeatedly performing motions in an incorrect or awkward position can also inflame the tendons. Where possible, avoid twisting motions. Fatigue and stress is another common problem experienced by display screen operators and can be caused by poor job design or work organization, underutilization of skills, high-speed repetitive working, or social isolation. Take a close look at the posture of this employee and make a note of some of the problem areas. As you can see, there are a number of major faults with this workstation. For a start, this person is looking up at her screen. The screen should be lowered so that the top of the screen is at eye level. Her seated position is also too high. The keyboard and seat should be lowered, or else a footrest used to support her legs. The surface layout of the workstation also needs to be altered to avoid repetitive reaching motions. Now that you are aware of some of the physical and mental hazards which can exist in your work environment, the next step in the ergonomics safety program is to carry out a workstation analysis. The purpose of this analysis is to firstly identify any workstation hazards and then evaluate the risks and their extent. So how should you go about identifying hazards and evaluating the risks which may be present in your work environment? In this company, health and safety representatives, together with management, carry out a weekly inspection of all workstations.
Hi, Monica.
Oh, hi, Joss.
Hi, Monica.
Hello,
how are you?
All right, thanks.
Good.
Yes.
We're just doing a workstation analysis and just wondered if you had any problems.
Oh, I don't think so, not really, no.
Monica, have you got any problems with the layout of your workstation at all?
Well, only that I've noticed that I seem to get a bit of a draft from the air conditioning vents up there, and I've noticed a bit of a sore neck recently. So whether it's related to that, I can't be sure, but...
Right.
This is probably the best way of identifying a hazard. Direct consultation between management and personnel can often quickly identify a problem area. Personnel should also be encouraged to air concerns about problems they may be experiencing. Observing personnel in their work environment carrying out their duties may also identify a hazard. Are personnel altering their workstations or environment to make themselves more comfortable? People have a tendency to adapt to their surroundings, and bad work practices or poor posture may be directly attributable to a design fault in their workstation. This person was sliding down in his chair to avoid glare on his computer screen from an overhead light. And this employee was regularly twisting her back to reach paperwork because her desk was too small to accommodate her needs. What do these other situations tell you about the problems faced by these employees? An analysis of injury and sick leave statistics may also help to identify hazards. it's a good idea for personnel and management to develop a hazard identification checklist, which should be completed on a regular basis by personnel and any new employees. Here are some typical checklist questions. Remember these points when identifying hazards. If any hazards are identified, then they should be evaluated to see if there is a risk to the health and safety of personnel. The next step in the ergonomic safety program is to find ways of eliminating or reducing the hazards which have been identified and evaluated. This is commonly referred to as risk reduction. Some examples of risk reduction include workstation redesign, modification of workplace layout, and redesign of your work system. A workstation should be designed to suit the personnel and the tasks which they have to perform. Let's look at workstation design in accordance with UK and EC guidelines. The position of your VDU screen plays a major role in determining your posture. In this example, see if you can identify the workstation design faults and the effect that it's having on this person's work posture. As you can see, the screen is not at the correct height, and it's also not tilted at the right angle. It's forcing this person to bend his neck and upper body forward to see properly. VDU screens should be swivel and tilt adjustable and be positioned so that when you're looking straight ahead, the top edge of the screen is at eye level. You will also have noticed that this person was sitting too close to the screen. The distance between your eyes and the screen should ideally be no less than 600 millimeters, though this will vary depending on individual preferences and physical determinants such as short-sightedness. The most comfortable viewing zone is 30 to 40 degrees below the horizontal. You should therefore tilt your screen so that it's at right angles to this normal line of sight. If you use your screen regularly, then you should position yourself so that you and the keyboard are directly in front and square onto the screen. This helps to avoid unnecessary twisting of the body. Regularly check your screen contrast and brightness to see that this is appropriate for the ambient lighting conditions. Incorrect settings can cause eye strain. If you experience glare problems, then either reposition your VDU or your workstation so that light is not within your line of sight or reflected into your eyes. Unwanted reflections or glare on the screen must also be eliminated. If they cannot be controlled, then external filters can be used. Keyboards, which are placed on a height-adjustable portion of the desk, make it easier for personnel to find a comfortable working position and assume good posture. There should also be a sufficient space in front of the keyboard to provide support for the hands and arms during pauses in keying. The main aim of desks, chairs, and other workstation furniture is to promote good working posture. The work desk should suit the height of the operator and have a sufficiently large, low reflectance surface which allows for flexible arrangements of the screen, keyboard, documents, and other equipment. If your major tasks tend to be reading or writing, then you require a desk which has a height just above elbow level. By having the desk at this height, you are able to support your upper body with your arms and elbows. This reduces the pressure and tension on your discs and muscles. Sloping desks are also beneficial for reading, writing, and precision work. They enable you to assume a more upright posture, which is less fatiguing. UK guidelines suggest that the selection of seating should be done in consultation between management, health and safety representatives, and employees involved in the task. When you're seated, remember that it is the lower region of the back which requires the most support. A well-designed chair should promote and support a natural and relaxed curvature of the back. Be height adjustable and have a height and tilt adjustable back support. be easily adjustable from a seated position. Minimize muscle fatigue and impedance to circulation, and be stable. You should check regularly to see that your chair is correctly adjusted. Study this person's chair position and make a note of what adjustments should be made. For a start, the chair is positioned too high for this person. Her feet are not firmly on the ground, and as a result, the front of her seat is pressing into her thighs and affecting her circulation. The chair height should be adjusted so that her feet rest firmly on the floor, taking the weight of her legs. Check to see that the chair fully supports the thighs with a 2-finger gap between the back of the knee and the chair. Backrests should fit comfortably into and support the lower curve of the back. They should also be angled so that they support a relaxed upright position or leaning slightly back. Your chair should also suit the floor surface, with twin-wheel casters being fitted for use on carpets and glides for use on smooth surfaces. Document holders also promote good posture, as they prevent repeated turning and twisting of your neck. They should be positioned so as to minimize the need for uncomfortable head and eye movements. If you spend the majority of your time viewing the document when you are typing, then the document holder should be directly in front of you and the screen placed to one side. A correctly designed workstation generally should not require a footrest. However, if you're working at a fixed height desk and the angle of the hip thigh is greater than 90 degrees, then you should use a footrest. Also, in certain types of workstations, such as a counter situation, a footrest should be used. Workstation lighting and the working environment are also key aspects of an ergonomically designed office. Lighting should be adequate for the tasks, and the workstation layout and artificial lighting correctly positioned, so that there is no disturbing glare or reflections. Workplace screens, walls and fixtures should be designed so that they do not direct glare or reflections onto the screen. Windows also need to be fitted with adjustable blinds. Noise needs to be controlled or the office layout changed so that personnel are not distracted. Soundproofing, repositioning of equipment, or the provision of sound insulating partitions are some examples of noise control. Incorrect positioning of workstations in relation to air conditioning ducts can also be a hazard. Another risk reduction measure could involve modifications to your workplace layout. It's important for you to organize your work layout to place the most frequently used objects within easy reach. This helps to minimize twisting and overreaching. Make a list of your common tasks and the equipment and materials needed to carry out those tasks. Now try arranging your desk and work area so that the equipment and materials you have listed are easy to reach. Filing cabinets, shelves and bookcases should also be easy to access, and items which you use regularly placed at a comfortable height. If you find your desk is becoming a storage area or you can't easily access materials, then do something about your workplace layout. Either get additional storage or make new space by removing old files, records, etc., which you no longer use regularly. Make sure there is plenty of space behind your chair so that you can easily move in and out of your workstation. There should also be plenty of space under your chair so that you can stretch your legs out. Where possible, organize your work so that you have a mix of screen-based and non-screen-based work. Break your day up as much as possible and try to include a variety of tasks which involve some physical activity. Body exercises also help to release tension and reduce fatigue. Shoulder circles, neck stretches, and reaching up over your head can easily be performed at your desk and help to release tension in your neck and shoulders. If you do a lot of keyboard work, then it's important to strengthen and stretch your hand and wrist muscles. Vision breaks and eye exercising are also important. Eye exercise routines include blinking, stretching, and focusing your eyes on distant objects. Inappropriate task design can be a major cause of stress and is an important consideration for an ergonomically conscious office. Some factors to keep in mind when considering task design include the degree of task variety, opportunities for personnel to exercise discretion, opportunities for learning and development. Does feedback occur? Matching staff levels to the volume of work, and the degree of personnel involvement in planning, design, and implementation of work tasks. Good office ergonomics means more than just modern chairs and special computer desks. As we've seen, it's about posture, matching the equipment to the user, the office environment, workstation layout, work organization and consultation between management and personnel concerning workstation design and safety. Before we go, here's one final problem for you to consider. This employee started his job 2 weeks ago and has developed severe back and neck pain as well as bad eye strain. He spends approximately 70% of his day working at his computer and the rest of the time reading and writing. See if you've been able to identify the problems which are causing his physical discomfort and what should be done to improve his situation. Remember, it's often just a few small adjustments to your equipment, posture, work routines and environment which help keep you and your body feeling great at work.